So I'll move on to our last but not final speaker, or not, no, sorry, his final speaker, last and final but not least speaker. I'm very happy to introduce Shuman Pradyumna Prabhu from Trinidad. Prabhu has had a very long absorption in Krishna consciousness. Actually started reading about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the age of 11 years old, which makes me feel in a very good way, most inadequate, because I started reading about Mahaprabhu at the age of 25, and I originally thought that he was an Englishman who'd become made a lord, and he was called Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that he sat in the House of Lords. That's what I thought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was at the beginning. That's how in illusion I was. But this gentleman actually read about Mahaprabhu and his pastimes at the age of 11, and his grandfather. He would read about Prabhupada and read the Bhagavad Gita with his grandpa. His ancestors are, he tells me, Tiwari Brahmins. I'd love to know what that actually is, because I don't know what Tiwari means, but that'd be interesting to know that. He found Sangha with Srila Sridhar Maharaj's Sangha, which he's such an amazing, such a poetic acharya. And Prabhu then took Harinam from Srila Gurudeva in 2005 and Diksha in 2007. And it's with great joy and a warm welcome that we can welcome and introduce Pradyumna from Trinidad, in probably sunny, warm Trinidad here. Well, it is sunny here, but it's still cold. So we're very happy to have you on Gurudev Memories. Warm welcome. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Oh yes, we can hear you really well. Perfect.
Pranams. So, I first offer my respectful obeisances onto Shri Guru Gauranga, Sri Gandharvika Giridhari, Radha Binod Vihari Ju, praying that their mercy guide us in this Harikatha and this glorification, this Pushpanjali to Shri Gurudev. As you were noting before, but actually before I start, I'll just also like to offer my respects to all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of Bhagwan gathered here in this Sabha, this virtual Sabha, to speak Harikatha, because worship of Guru begins with Harikatha. So, Dhanam Pranams Prabhu, Vanchakalpatrivascha, Kripasindhivavacha, Pradam Pavirivyo, Vaishnavibhyo Namo Nama, Namo Vishnuparaya Radhikai Priyatmane, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Namini, Namo Vishnuparaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharini, Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatani. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, you see me properly, Prabhu?
Really, really well. Video is perfect, sound is perfect.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Beautiful.
Jai. So, I know the time is about 27 more minutes again, so I'll just try to be brief and quick. So, as you noted, I do believe that in speaking about Shri Guru, this is Srila Gurudev's remembrance, so we must have some Srila Guru Smaran. And I was thinking just the other day that Srila Guru Smaran inculcates verily the Guru Tattva. I was listening to Gaur Govind Maharaj, and he's saying Tattva Vichar. So basically, what does Tattva Vichar mean for me to come into Gurudev Sangha? Sangha meaning I would have had some connection with the Vishwa Vaishnav Raj Sabha, and meaning verily right now also the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. All these terminologies are verily one in my mind. But I don't want to go, I want to mix it between the Sri Guru Tattva and remembrances of Srila Gurudev. So yes, so there's a prayer that I would always say, growing up, as I said, at age 11 or so, Bando Guru Padakanj Kripa Sindhu Nararup Hari Maha Moha Tamapunj Jasu Bachana Ravi Karanikara. It's a prayer written in the Ramcharitmanas, and I know Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta, His Divine Grace, Jagat Guru Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, he would always recite his Ramcharitmanas as a young balak, as a young boy also. So I was quite intrigued, especially on this aspect of Srila Gurudev. And in that prayer, it says, Bando Guru Parakanj, that one should take the mercy Kripa Sindhu Nararupari. Why is that important for me? Because while reading that verse in the Ramayana, I realized that the Guru must not be a mundane personality. Guru is Mahabhagavat. As it says, Daridvena Shamasha Shastre Uktastata Bhavat Eva Sadbi Kintu Prabhu Yapriya Eva Tasya Bande Guru Sri Charanana Vindam. That Guru must be on the level of Mahabhagavat, beyond Kanisht, beyond Madhyam on Mahabhagavat. Of course, different sanghas, as per the wishes of the acharyas, different variations, but all Guru Tattva is one, and Srila Prabhupada, I can't remember the exact year, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada would have noted that Guru is one, Nityananda, Akanda Guru Tattva, Balram, Lakshmanji, Andandashish, Guru is one, Guru Tattva is one. So, as noting, I read that doha from the Ramcharitmanas and said, Maha Moha Tamapunj, that I need a guru who could take me out of this moha, this lust, anger, greed, passion. And before I continue, I'll just read a little poem I had written that sums it up to my glorification of Gurudeva also. Oh, my master, what a wonder you have wrought. Help us conquer enemies manifold, and we love from thou can free us. No remuneration can we pay thee back, for you have in no hushed nuances delivered to us love absolute, divine sage of yore, the message you have brought. Puranta does proclaim the drishti, the vision encapsulating one Mahatma in beauty inclined is thy very self. Nikunja Juno, Ratikeli Sidai, Yaya Libir Yuktira Pikshaniya, Tattare Didaksharati Valabhasya, Bande Guru Sri Charanana Vindam. So basically that was just a kind of opening. So to the major part here, but as noted, Guru Tattva is major. But what does Gurudev mean for me in my life? Guru means he who removes the darkness of ignorance that has entrenched me in this material world. As Baladev Vidyabhushan in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita notes that many a times we are in this material world due to the envy and hate, and we are manifesting that envy and hate to Krishna at many a times. But this bhav, this prem for Shri Gauranga, that is the only thing that will take us, Maha Moha Tamapunj, out of this envy and hate for this Sri Krishna Bhagwan. So you rightly noted, I did begin my sojourn in Krishna consciousness at the age of 11. My grandfather great-grandfather actually was what you call a member of the Sri Sampradaya, the Ramanujacharya Sampradaya. And from the Sri Sampradaya, there would have been a branch called the Ramanandis. And my great-grandfather actually, he was a Sri Vaishnava, always chanting the name of Narayana. So at an early age, growing up, he would also chant and tell me, chant the name of Narayana, Narayan ki naam kaho, a Hindi saying. And I always mused upon this. And actually, he would always glorify his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In everything he did, he would always glorify Srila Prabhupada. He would glorify and say that if you ever want to be something in life, you know, as a young boy, age 10 or 11, I would always think, oh, I want to become so scientist, so many other things. But he would also say, he actually told me, he said, if you want to do anything in life and be anything in life, become a Hare Krishna. If you want to do anything or become anything in life, become a Hare Krishna devotee. And I was amazed because he actually spoke to me about Ratha Yatra in New York. He had once attended, and he was amazed by the devotion, the bhav that these devotees evince, the experiential evidence is there in understanding the glory of Lord Jagannath. And so hence I got a love, so to speak, for this Lord Jagannath, this glorification of Srila Prabhupada. So hence at age 11, I would have started to read, actually 10, sorry, would have started to read Bhagavad Gita, actually the Pityas of Bhagavad Gita as it is. And perchance, I prayed, I was also, in my own way, strange enough, I had read the Bhagavad Gita by Sarvapalli Radha Krishna, was musings. He's a Mayavadi, unfortunately. And I would read Gita Press and other Bhagavad Gita versions, searching, doing my own yoga practice. And but yet my grandfather would always tell me, worship Narayan, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudha Mate Samprati Saniti Kale. Always worship Govinda. And hence, as time went on, I also honored Shivji, and I prayed to Shivji, oh Shivji, please deliver me to a guru who will actually allow me to go to Bhagwan. Because I understood that Shivji, he is guiding. But I forgot to mention that prior to this, at about age 5 or 6, well, I would keep going with my grandfather to what we call pujas. And age 5 or 6, I would had sat in a meditation. One of my relatives attended a yoga meditation group. And in that meditation, I actually felt some divine presence of Shri Radha Madhav Ji. And feeling that divine presence of Shri Radha Madhav Ji, I don't want to, enumerate much more on that, but feeling that divine presence, I felt a love that just embraced me, just went into my soul, this Jivatma, it just embraced my soul. And from that age of 5 or 6, I said to myself, I must find back that love, that to taste ruchi, to get some rati later on to their lordships. So going through my life, I would always have my grandfather, he had this Thakurji, their lordship, Shri Lakshmi Narayan, and he would worship Shri Lakshmi Narayan. And as time went on, as I said, I prayed to Shivji, and Shivji, miraculously, how I came upon this book, the book is, it's kind of old, History of the Chaitanya Faith in Orissa by Prabhat Mukherjee. How I came upon that is one day I took many books out from different, what we call institutions, and I placed it before me. And I asked Shivji, I said, Shivji, please show me who is God. And miraculously, as if in a fairy tale, one may say, the pages of the books flew. No joke, the pages of the books, all the 3 or 4 books flew to the page. 3 of them had the glorification of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and 1 had the glorification of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. And I was amazed. I said, who is this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Who is this Gauranga Mahaprabhu? So I know the time is clicking there, so I'll just fast forward a little bit. And I was quite amazed. In 2 days' time, every single book I opened, I found out about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I knew Narayana was God, Lakshmi Narayan, but I still had more affection, strange enough, for Shivji. And I was telling Shivji, I don't know about this Krishna that many devotees are speaking of, many persons are speaking of, but I have faith in this personality now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as I read through that book, I realized that my life and soul should be given to Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And I said to myself, if Gauranga Mahaprabhu is saying that Krishna is God, then I do believe that Krishna is God, only on the word of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's quite amazing. Many devotees came to Krishna consciousness via Shri Krishna or reading Prabhupada's books about Shri Krishna. But strange enough, no matter I glanced Bhagavad Gita at an earlier age, I was impressed, totally mesmerized, translocated to another dimension, if one may say, to the realm of Nadia, to the realm of Gaudiya. And I felt spiritually deeply in love with this divine character called Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He reminds me, actually, I was searching for a personality who would be almost as if the Sermon on the Mount, because I had also gone to a Catholic institution at early age also, and I'd studied what we may say Catholic theology, Christian theology, Islamic theology, Sufism. I actually, like our brothers and sisters who would have came in the movement in the 60s, what we make term the New Age movement. I actually tried out many other groupings, also transcendental meditation and Maharishi Mahesh Yogi and Yogananda, so many other things too at the same time. And what really solidified my experience was the praying to this Pradhuna to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So basically, as I said, by praying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I actually penned a letter to the Pandas of Jagannath Puri begging, oh Pandas, I do not know where I can find disciples or devotees of Lord Jagannath in my country, in Trinidad and Tobago, or devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Please help me to meet such devotees. And quite amazingly, as a few months later, I was going in a town called San Fernando. I went to my college called Presentation College in Chaguanas. And while I was just leaving, one evening, I would normally frequent what we call the puja stores, where they have, it's like the bazaar in Vrindavan. They have so many puja items, books and what so forth. And I was looking for books on Gauranga Mahaprabhu still. And amazingly, I took a different turn and I went to a gentleman's store, and he actually called out to me. He said, Ram Ram. And I was shocked, because this gentleman, he was not of Asiatic descent, and he was glorifying Shri Ram. So I was quite intrigued that he called. And then I went to his store. But what is amazing, the first contact is I saw the picture of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru. And I was so mesmerized by this personality called A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada that I stood still in my tracks. I was mesmerized by Srila Prabhupada. And from then, that Prabhuji and me, his name is Kalachandji Das, we would have Harikatha, we would discuss Bhagavad Gita. He's actually from the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So actually I came to ISKCON first, should have mentioned that. I came to ISKCON via Srila Prabhupada also. So I came first to Lord Chaitanya, then to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness at age 12. I didn't start going to the temple as yet. But you mentioned Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. And quite amazingly, about that same time, the members of the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, connected to Bhakti, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, came to Trinidad and Tobago at that same time. And I got books by Sridhar Maharaj in Spanish, strangely enough. And I actually started reading it both in English and Spanish. And I was quite amazed by, I think it's The Volcano of Divine Love, one of his first books that I read by Sridhar Maharaj. And I was also taken away. So here's my experience. I'm reading about Srila Prabhupada, the Science of Self-Realization, and then reading about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from this devotee Prabhat Mukherjee, and then at the same time reading books by Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. So to fast forward a little bit, years would have passed. We read out the Bhagavad Gita, we read teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and I was just amazed by the Goswamis of Vrindavan, Rup Sanatan, Bhatt Raghunath, Shri Jeev Goswami, so many personalities. And it so happened that I realized I got the opportunity, I may say, to serve many sannyasis in ISKCON, many of the GBC members in my sojourn in this mundane plane. And in that service to many of the GBC members, one of the sannyasis, quite amazingly, I was trying to improve my japa. I was about, let's say, 17 years or so, 17, 18 years old back then. And when I was 17 or 18, that's about, let's say, about 1999. I was 18 years. And in 1999, I would have come in contact with this particular book. I actually, trying to remember now, I went into the room and the GBC Swamiji, he's having many books on Harinam. So I'm asking, Maharaj, could I kindly get a book on Harinam? And not absent-mindedly, because nothing, Brahmananda Brahmite Kone Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Kripa Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. The Guru, he is waiting there for you. He is life after life, he's waiting there for you. So basically, I was given a book by this GBC member, this is Sannyasi, who I was being a servant for some time, and it was called Sri Harinam Mahamantra. And when I read that book, I was taken away to another realm. And what occurred then, I started some inclination, because I had also read, as I said, a book by Sridhar Maharaj, but I felt in my heart, this Gaudiya Mat, I must know more about this Gaudiya Mat. I must know more. What I forgot to mention, and I'm just looking at the time too, is that even in ISKCON at that time, there was something called the Ritvik movement. Ritvik, I'm sure the devotees would know. And
Yeah.
You're
fine for time. You've got another 15 to 20 minutes. 15
to 20 minutes. All right, thanks. So very quickly, via the Ritvik movement, I would have realized that I needed to find a personality who is a Mahabhagavat on the level of Srila Prabhupada to be guru. I really wanted that. I desired that, and that itcha, it came into the inner recesses of my heart, and I prayed to Shri Krishna. And quite amazingly, as I said, I got this book from the sannyasi, this GBC member, and he was actually telling another sannyasi, another personality via the phone, that is un devoto pura, is a devotee, a pure devotee. He was speaking about Srila Gurudev. So I was saying, wait a minute, because it's perchance that sannyasi didn't know I could understand Spanish. And they were discussing within my presence the glorification of Srila Gurudev. And so I said, oh, so this personality, His Divine Grace Jagat Guru Srila Narayana Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, is a pure devotee. So I actually desired to find more books upon him. And I went online in the internet and searched and searched and searched, could not find anything as yet. But I prayed, and there's something called the Diwali Nagar. Diwali Nagar is I wouldn't say a great bazaar with many religious institutions coming, and the Hare Krishna devotees would always go there. So I went with the other devotees to this Diwali Nagar, and quite amazingly, I remember praying, oh Krishna, may I find someone to tell me of my Shri Gurudev. And strangely enough, I sat next to a devotee in the Nagar, and he's passed away now. And this devotee, his name is Lakshman Das. He actually told me, Prabhu, so I see in your hand, because I had the book Harinam Maha Mantra in my hand. And he said, oh, you know Srila Narayana Maharaj? I said, of course, I know. I'm searching somehow to get in contact with his Sangha. I really have to go and get in contact with his Sangha. And this devotee, he said, oh, I'm a disciple of Srila Narayana Maharaj. And I was quite shocked because, I didn't, it just threw me off to another realm, so to speak. And from then we started to discuss about Srila Gurudev, and via him, I would have come in contact with many other devotees and other books by Gurudev. And via that, I also ordered online and books by Srila Gurudev on Durvasa Rishi, Prabhandavali, and many other books. And as I said, it actually impacted my life so much that there was a divine vibration from the core of my heart to know that this Guru is Ashray Bhagwan. Guru has two forms. He's Chaitya Guru inside, but he's also Ashray Bhagwan, with his Paramatma. He's taking this form externally as Guru to guide us. Binu Satsanga Vivekana Hoi Rama Kripasu Durlabna Soi Satsangamara Mangala Mula Soi Padasiddhi Sadhana Pula. That without the grace of God, without the grace of Shri Krishna, Shri Ram, one cannot get the mercy of Guru. But without the mercy of Shri Guru, you cannot get the grace of God. As I said, Shaksha Daridvena Shamasha Shastri. So he actually come in contact with this devotee and reading so many books by Gurudev. I actually got the opportunity to meet personalities such as His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Muni Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Damrar Maharaj, many personalities such as Bhaktivedanta Ashram Maharaj and others would have visited our island, and His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj and others. And via coming in contact with Gurudev's disciples, I was so enamored with the Katha, this Ras Katha of Srila Gurudev. So going to Srila Gurudev now, my first experience, as I said, physically present or not physically present, I do believe, and I dare say that the Acharya is always there. We may think that Gurudev has left the mundane platform and has entered what we call the Aprakrat Leela, but I dare say that Sri Gurudev is always with us here, because this Bhumandala is in one part of this divine realm, and no matter Gurudev is in another universal system, another planetary system in another universe, another Brahmanand. He's preaching, doing Dharam Prachar, but he's also a Manjari. We know Gurudeva is also a Manjari in the spiritual realm. So the matter is not physically present before us. He is actually in that divine realm of Golok, Vrindavan, and Navadvip Dham. So my first actual experience of connecting with Gurudeva, I actually didn't physically meet Gurudeva. It might be quite amazing to hear that. I didn't physically meet Gurudev, but via the phone, I would have spoken to him a few times. And especially I'll go to the night of my initiation with His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Muni Maharaj is over there, and Gurudev and some other Vaishnavas. And Gurudev is telling me on the phone, he's saying, oh, so your initiated name is Pradyumna Das. And seeing, as I said, my great-grandfather was from Bihar, India, he would have asked me if I could say Hindi, could you speak Hindi? And I said, oh, Gurudev, unfortunately, no matter I did some preliminary Hindi and reading Ramcharitmanas, they also have English translation. I did not, back then, I didn't know Hindi as much. And Gurudev said, oh, you learn Hindi, but I give you the blessing also to learn Sanskrit. And I was saying, oh, how can I learn Sanskrit? And then he said something that astounded me. He said, I want you, Pradyumna Das, to preach for me throughout every single part of the world, especially Caribbean. We'll get with your Prabhu Data Desh, between your local yatra, you preach. And I was shocked. Who am I? But Guru is so great. He wants. So just to fast forward, I started to do some Dharam Prachar, some preaching in all the different villages, like Namhata programs and what's so forth with other devotees. And we did some Harinam and Sankirtan and preaching. And what is amazing is when I took my second initiation, my Brahmin initiation much later, I remember being seated in the presence of Gurudev. He's speaking on the phone. And this is so important that one may, no matter he's not physically present, I do know that Gurudev, via his audio files, and this is why we glorify the Audio Saver team also, by hearing Gurudev's katha, one is transmitted because it says, Dhyanam Mulam Guru Murti Puja Mulam Guru Param Mantra Mulam Guru Vakyam. The mind is transported beyond this material world to Golok Vrindavan via hearing the Vakya, the divine presence, Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. So we must always have that one-pointed bhakti to Shri Guru. How much time again, Prabhu? I realize I had to skip some points there.
Oh, you're doing really well. It's another 8 to 10 minutes.
Oh, good. All right, just want to make sure. Yeah, so as I said, listening to Srila Gurudev speaking to me via divine Brahm Shabda, his divine Vakya, via the phone, what is amazing, when I was getting Gayatri Mantra, of course we cannot repeat, but I actually felt a divine energy, a divine presence when I was getting that Gayatri Mantra. And that shocked me, because just before I was thinking, oh, some of my other friends who were in other institutions, religious institutions, are saying, you're sure you want to take the second initiation now? They were from ISKCON actually. And they were saying, you sure? And I said, yes, I want to, because this is a divine personality. But I was thinking in my mind, Gurudev, could you kindly give me a little nudge again? And quite amazingly, when I got those Gayatri mantras from Srila Gurudev, I was just transported and to this divine realm. And I was so happy. I don't want to enumerate more on that. So as time went on, I spoke to Gurudev again, and he asked me, he said, Pradyumna, are you preaching? Are you preaching? And I did as much as doing some book distribution, etc. for Srila Gurudev. But what is most important is Gurudev actually came to me. I should have mentioned, when he spoke to me on the phone, he said, I think I have the actual verse here that would have been quoted. Say Param Bandhu, say Mata Pita, say Krishna Charan, yay. Prema Bhakti Data, Sakal Janma Pita Mata Sabe Pai, Guru Nahi Mile, Bajaha Hai. This is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, saying that Gurudev told me, he said, millions of births have you had, millions of mothers and fathers have you had, millions of gurus in different levels have you had, but only once do you meet a Mahabhagavat. So I'm with you always. And amazingly, after I took second initiation, Brahmin initiation, what is amazing, Gurudev said the same thing to me, and in a dream. And I know some devotees might say, oh, Prabhu, you're speaking more portents and dreams. You know, Guru comes also in divine realm, in the astral realm. And in a dream, Gurudev would have told me the same thing he told me on the phone, that I am your mother and father, life after life. I'm your guru, life after life. I'll always be there for you. Even when I'm not here, I will always be there. Basically, he said that. And it astounded me. And what is amazing about that, Prabhuji, is that that dream continued for 3 weeks, every single night, like a recurring, not decimal, but something just recurring, Om Purnamada Purnamidam, just infinite. And it felt like walking through an infinite corridor. It felt like entering into that infinite realm. And as years passed, due to certain situations, actually in 2017, Gurudev would have, with Srila Prabhupada, would have, via transcendental vision in the dream realm, one may say, he spoke and told me, he said, Pradyumna, what are you doing for me? You are doing preaching, yes, but have you connected with all your God brothers and God sisters in every single place and point of view? And lo and behold, Prabhuji, would you believe, again, for nearly 3 weeks, the same, and this is why I'm begging devotees, let us all be united in as our Christian brethren will say, one in spirit, we are one in the Lord. So in that dream, Gurudev told me again, he said, Pradyumna, what have you done? And Srila Prabhupada asked the same thing, because I'm always thankful to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, because I do believe, and I say it here today, that there's no distinction between Sridhar Maharaj's mat, between International Society for Krishna Consciousness, between Gurudev Sangha. We are all one big Sangha, one big family, and we have to live as that way, as brothers and sisters under the personality of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we must honor our Jagat Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Because as I said, in that dream realm, having encountered Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada, they said, Pradyumna, could you call all your God brothers and God sisters and actually do some seva for me? So that is why right now, I'm seeing the time running out. Right now, I'm trying to write a book in glorification of Srila Gurudev, not on the level of course, Madhav Maharaj or Premanand Prabhu's book and Prabhuji's. There's a beautiful book also, by the way, I should mention, there's a book called, I should get it, Shri Guru Darshan, beautiful book. All right. And that book, Shri Guru Darshan, when I actually ordered that book online, it actually revolutionized my life. It kick-started my life. Also, a book on Gurudev by Sri Madhav Maharaj, very beautiful. So I decided, I said, I'm like an ant compared to these personalities. Just as the spider is trying to carry the rock, and Hanumanji is carrying the big boulder or mountain to put place into the ocean in Lanka. The spider is carrying. So whatever little I'm trying to do is by the grace of Shri Gurudev. So I'm actually calling all devotees, trying to get a listing of devotees to call everyone to actually request that I get some more audio, so I could compile this literature and show that we are one in the spirit, so to speak, one in Lord Gauranga's mission, one in Sangha. There's no difference. As Srila Prabhupada told his God brothers, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada told his God brothers, I think on the disappearance of Jagat Guru Srila Bhaktisarana Saraswati Thakur, that Guru is one, Guru Tattva is one, there's no difference. So I see no difference. If one looks through the books of Srila Prabhupada, you will see Ras Tattva outlined. If you look through the books of Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, you'll see Ras Tattva implied. If you look through the books, I was just the other day reading a book by His Divine Grace, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, you'll see Ras Tattva inclined. So we are all under one institution, Vishwa Vaishnav Raj Sabha, Bhakti Vinod Asan, Gaudiya Mat, ISKCON, International Pure Bhakti Yoga Society. So this is my little plea. So why I said that is because Gurudev in that dream, he had requested me to call all the devotees to ask that we all unite in this transcendental organization of Srila Gurudev Sangha. So I don't know if I have a few seconds again.
Take a few more seconds. Beautiful.
All right. Yeah. So as I said, this Guru Tattva, is so transcendental, because I began by saying Maha Moha Tabapunj Jasu Vachana Ravikara Nikara, but Nararup Hari, it means that Guru is just as good as God. And Mirabai had sang a bhajan, there were glorification and stated that if Guru and Govind appear before you, who would you go to first? Should you go to Govind or should you go to Shri Guru? And actually the import of that is you should go to Shri Guru. And as Bhagavad Maharaja was noting just recently, I would like to end with this. Shri Guru, Gurudev, His Divine Grace, Jagat Yugacharya, Jagat Guru Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, and His Divine Grace, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, are both in this realm of Manjari Bhav. They are both Manjaris in this divine realm. So let us not only look at Gurudev as this mundane being, well, even others of other sanghas, they should not look at Gurudev as some mundane personality. Gurudev is a Manjari, Srila Prabhupada is a Manjari, and these personalities are the divine realm, and we should know that they are so full of mercy. Gurudev kripa karke mujhe ko apna lena. So I pray to, I have so much more to discuss, but I know the time is up. So Danvat Pranams, Hare Krishna. If I've committed any offenses to any devotees, please forgive me. And hopefully most devotees around the world will be hearing from me in this seva to glorify Gurudev by the compilation of Shri Guru Tattva, Oshila Gurudev Lilamrit. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful, Prabhu. So beautiful. I felt so much joy from you. And I feel like you could have your own radio show.
No, Prabhuji.
have you learned the Sanskrit yet?
Oh, yes. Actually, when Gurudev told me, I didn't believe, because in our island, we didn't have much places to learn Sanskrit. But strange enough, I went to an institution and I did Sanskrit for 3 years. And it was quite amazing.
Wow.
So I actually could read the Sanskrit now.
Beautiful, beautiful.
By the mercy of Guru.
Do you know Sundar in Costa Rica?
Not so much, unfortunately.
You've heard of him?
Partially, yeah.
Maybe you should connect with him. I think you guys will get on very well. And what you said about Rasa Tattva, yes, absolutely. I loved what you said about unity, one Chaitanya family. We can be many families like cousins, but we're one family, and we must remember that. That's when Vaishnavism is really going to become very well respected, is when we have proper respect for one another individually and
Correct.
proper respect between the sanghas. Then our Vaishnavism will become propounded throughout the world in a very, very glorious, even more glorious way than it is already. And I remember when I first read the first book by Srila Prabhupada that I read, which was Krishna, Personality of Godhead, which was a very simple introduction, actually. The Rasa Tattva was all there, literally in the introduction. I mean, there was no bones about it. And I loved what you, it was really amazing, that story you said about how it became clear to you that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the personality of Godhead, with the books that opened. That was really amazing. And I'm sure you're aware, and of course you can go back to the original Sanskrit. I've just been recently studying, I did my offering on Gorpranim was about proving the existence of mercy. And one of the ways that I found very convincing was just how many highly specific references there are throughout all the Puranas, all 400,000 verses of the Puranas, scattered throughout at least 15 of the Puranas are very specific proof of Mahaprabhu's advent.
Yes.
Who his mother is, whose wife which river he was going to be born by, which village he was going to be in, what form he was going to come in, what his purpose was. Really, really extraordinary. I had a question for you, two questions actually, and one came from one of our participants as well as me. We both want to know what's a Tiwari Brahmin as opposed to Brahmin.
Oh, no. It was just making a point that Tiwari Brahmin, I think it's a person, it's a varna, a name of a person in Shri Sampradaya. Because if you look at Srila Gurudev's life, he was also from Tiwaripur.
Right.
So I mean, it's not a part of Krishna consciousness, because we should never think the body of the Guru to be mundane. I think Sri Ramanujacharya says that if you think the body of Guru is mundane, you go to hell. So I don't want to commit that offense. But when I was like age 11 or 12, I actually prayed to Shri Krishna to get a Guru who was in both my inclination, my lineage, but also someone who would have been from my what I may say, my varna. I wouldn't say caste. So, and quite amazingly, Gurudev, as I read about Gurudev, I prayed for someone who actually read Ramcharitmanas and said Gurudev read Ramayana 11 times.
So are Tiwaris from a particular area, like Bihar, or they dotted around India?
Bihar. The same, yeah. And so by praying to a Guru such as that, strange enough, I know Gurudev came from such a lineage. I mean, but at the same time, I know he's on the spiritual realm.
No, I understand that. And that book, Shri Guru Darshan, is that, I haven't seen that book before.
Oh, it's from Bhakta Bandhav.
Oh, yes, I have got it. Yes, I know. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wonderful, Prabhu. Well, there we have it. We've had Srimati Lalavdi Didi with a beautiful kirtan, which I've actually asked to send me some recordings, which she already has done, which was amazing. And then we went to Birmingham and heard very, very heartfelt Pushpanjalis from Shripad, not yet Shripad, Sriman Nandasuta Prabhu and his wife Srimati Sarojini Didi. And then finally, but not least by any means, a very joyous Pushpanjali from Sriman Pradyumna Prabhu. That's a very beautiful picture you've got on your Zoom link. If you could send that to me, I'd be very grateful, of Gurudev. I haven't seen that picture, Pradyumna. That's very beautiful.